Hey there and welcome. So take a second and picture your retirement. What does it look like? Are you traveling the world, picking up a new hobby, or maybe just relaxing, without a single financial worry in the world? Well, to get from here to there, you're going to need a plan. And today, we are unlocking one of the most powerful tools that we as Canadians have to build that future, the RRSP. Okay, let's just dive right in with a pretty blunt question. Will you outlive your money? I know it's a little jarring to hear it put that way, but honestly, it gets right to the heart of what is maybe the single biggest challenge in modern retirement planning. And that challenge, it actually has a name: longevity risk. It's the very real and growing risk of running out of savings simply because you live a long, full, healthy life. I mean, it's a fantastic problem to have, right? But it's a financial problem that we absolutely have to solve for. But, longevity risk isn't the only headwind we're facing. The whole idea of retirement that our parents or grandparents knew is changing, and that presents a whole new set of challenges for us to navigate. I mean, just think about it for a second. We are living longer than any generation in history. At the same exact time, inflation is constantly, quietly eating away at our buying power. Fewer and fewer companies are offering those old-school guaranteed pensions, which means the responsibility is now squarely on our shoulders. And to top it all off, healthcare costs are on the rise. It really paints a clear picture. Planning for yourself isn't just a good idea anymore. It's absolutely essential. But hey, don't worry, it is not all doom and gloom. Not at all. The Canadian government created an incredibly powerful tool specifically to help us tackle these very challenges. So let's talk about the RRSP and what exactly makes it a financial superpower. Okay, the superpower of the RRSP is something called tax-deferred growth. Here's a way to think about it. Imagine your investments are a garden. In a normal account, the tax man comes every single year and pulls out some weeds, which, slows down the growth. But the RRSP garden, it's inside a protected greenhouse. It gets to grow wild and free, compounding on itself year after year, until it's finally time for the harvest in retirement. And this is where you see the magic happen right away. Normally, you earn your income, the government takes its cut in taxes, and then you invest whatever's left over. But with an RRSP, you get to contribute your pre-tax dollars. That means you're starting with a bigger chunk of money from day one, putting more of your cash to work for you right from the get-go. Now, this is absolutely crucial to understand. The RRSP doesn't eliminate your tax bill, it just kicks the can down the road. It delays it. You get a tax deduction right now while you're in your higher earning years, and you only pay the tax when you pull the money out later in retirement, when, hopefully, you're in a much lower tax bracket. So how do you actually use this powerful tool? Let's get into the rule book. The rules are actually pretty straightforward, and knowing them is really the key to making your RRSP work for you. First things first, who can even have an RSP? Well, it's pretty simple. Anyone in Canada with earned income who is under the age of 71. So what's earned income? Basically, it's money you make from working, your job, a business you run, or even rental income. What doesn't count is money you get from your investments or from things like CPP or old age security. So how much can you actually put in? The magic number you need to remember is 18%. Every year, you get new contribution room that's equal to 18% of the earned income you made in the previous year. Now, that 18% rule does have a ceiling. The government sets a maximum contribution limit each year, and that number usually gets a little bump to keep up with inflation. Let's make this real with a super simple example. Let's say you earned $100,000 last year. You just multiply that by our magic number, 18%, and boom, just like that, you've created $18,000 in new RRSP room for this year. It's that simple. And here's one of the absolute best features of the RSSP. It's flexibility. If you can't afford to contribute the full amount in a given year, don't sweat it. That room isn't lost. It just carries forward, forever, waiting for you to use it when you're ready. All right, there are two key deadlines you gotta circle on your calendar. First, you have to stop contributing to your RRSP at the end of the year you turn 71. And second, there's a really handy grace period. Any contributions you make in the first 60 days of a new year can actually be used to get a tax deduction on the previous year's tax return. So what happens if you, accidentally put in a little too much? Well, the government gives you a little bit of wiggle room. There's a lifetime over-contribution allowance of $2,000. But if you go over that, there's a penalty tax of 1% per month on the extra amount, so it's definitely something you want to keep an eye on. Okay, you've got the basics down. Now let's get into the fun stuff. Let's look at a couple of smarter ways you can use your RRSP to get even more strategic with your retirement savings. First up, we've got the spousal RSSP. Now, this is a brilliant strategy for any couple where there's a pretty big gap in your incomes. Here's the basic idea. The spouse who earns more money makes a contribution into an RRSP that is set up in their lower income spouse's name. So the contributor, the higher income spouse, gets that immediate tax deduction. But the money, the actual retirement funds, are now owned by their partner. So what's the goal here? The whole point is income splitting when you retire. By building up two separate nest eggs instead of one giant one, you can pull money out in a way that keeps both of you in a lower tax bracket, and that means a lower overall tax bill for your family. Just a heads up though, there are attribution rules. If the money is taken out within 3 years of a contribution, the income gets taxed back to the person who put it in. So this is really a long-term play. So what can you actually put inside this RRSP? Pretty much anything you want. We're talking mutual funds, GICs, stocks, bonds, ETFs, you name it. And this right here is such a key takeaway. An RSP is not an investment by itself. It's just the container, like a bucket. You are the one who decides what amazing investments you're going to fill it with. And there you have it. We've looked at the challenges of modern retirement, and we've seen just how powerful the RRSP is in helping you meet them. It's this flexible, tax-smart tool that was literally designed to help you build the future you want. So, the only question left is, what are you going to build with yours?